Narcissist is a word that gets thrown around all the time. But what are we really talking about when we say that? It's so much more than just vanity. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really dig into one of the most talked about and honestly, most misunderstood personality types out there. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a relationship, with a friend, a partner, a family member that just left you feeling completely drained? Maybe manipulated or confused or like you were questioning your own sanity. If that feeling sounds even a little bit familiar, then stick around because what we're about to unpack might just provide some much-needed clarity. All right, so let's start with the basics. Let's get behind that big, grandiose mask. What is narcissism really? Now, you've probably heard the old Greek myth of Narcissus, right? The guy who fell in love with his own reflection. Well, in psychology, it's a lot deeper. It really boils down to this powerful trio of traits: a seriously inflated sense of self, this unquenchable thirst for praise, and this is the big one, a profound inability to connect with how other people are feeling. And this is a super important point we need to clear up. Narcissism isn't just some on or off switch. It's much better to think of it as a spectrum. You see, on one end, you have narcissistic traits. And let's be honest, most of us can be a little self-centered from time to time. That's pretty normal. But way, way over on the other end of that spectrum, you have narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. And that's a completely different ballgame. It's a clinical diagnosis that deeply and negatively affects pretty much every corner of a person's life. So you might be wondering, why the big show? Why the mask of being so superior all the time? Well, what's really fascinating and kind of sad, actually, is that it's often a cover-up. It's a defense mechanism. Behind all that bravado, there's usually a very, very fragile self-esteem. It's like a shield protecting a deep wound, one that often traces all the way back to a complex childhood. Maybe they got way too much praise without any real substance, or maybe they were harshly criticized and neglected. Okay, so we have the foundation. Now let's get practical. How do these things actually show up in the real world? What are the telltale signs, the red flags that we should be looking out for? If you remember just one thing from our entire conversation today, please let it be this. The absolute core, the number one hallmark of narcissism, is a profound lack of empathy. We're talking about a genuine inability to recognize, identify with, or truly feel what other people are feeling. Pretty much every other behavior we're going to talk about grows from this one single root. And you can really see how that lack of empathy just ripples out into everything else. That grandiose sense of self-importance, well, that comes from not being able to see other people as your equal. That constant bottomless need for praise and admiration, same thing. It explains that powerful sense of entitlement and why their relationships can become so transactional and exploitative. They can even be deeply envious of others, while at the same time being completely convinced that everyone is actually envious of them. It all comes back to that one core issue. So how do all these red flags actually play out when you're in a relationship with someone like this? Well, it tends to follow a very predictable and, frankly, an incredibly painful cycle. It all starts with something called love bombing. And look, this is so much more than just being charming. It's an intense, overwhelming flood of affection and attention. They make you feel like you are the most special person in the entire world, and they do it to get you hooked. Because then, the switch flips. Phase 2 is devaluation. The mask drops, the criticism starts, and it's all designed to make you feel small so they can feel big. And it is so confusing because you're still holding on to that perfect person from the beginning. And finally, when you no longer serve their need for admiration, you get to the discard. They might end things abruptly, coldly, and just disappear. And the end result of this whole crazy-making cycle, the relationship is almost always completely one-sided. It is an emotional black hole. Because think about it. True intimacy requires vulnerability, right? But to a narcissist, vulnerability is just seen as weakness. So a genuine two-way connection, it's pretty much impossible. Okay, this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this whole conversation: protecting yourself. Recognizing the signs is step one, absolutely. But knowing how to respond, that's where you truly reclaim your power. And honestly, just understanding these patterns is a huge first step. The moment you can see the love bombing for what it is, a tactic, or see their criticism as a reflection of their issues, not your worth, that's when you can start to detach emotionally. It all starts to lose its power over you. And this right here, this is non-negotiable.
You have to set firm boundaries. And I mean rock solid. A person with these traits will test those lines constantly, so you have to be ready to hold them even when it feels really, really hard.
Along with those boundaries, you have to manage your own expectations. Here's the hard truth. They are very unlikely to change. You will exhaust yourself trying to get them to see your side of things. So, don't. Instead, focus that energy back where it belongs, on you. Prioritize your own well-being, lean hard on your support system, and know that in some cases, going no contact is the healthiest and safest choice you can possibly make. So, as we start to wrap this up, I want to be crystal clear about the goal here. This is not about running around and trying to diagnose people or stick labels on everyone you know. The true purpose of this knowledge is to give you insight. It's a tool for your own self-protection. It's about recognizing patterns of behavior so that you can make informed decisions, maintain your own boundaries, and put your own mental and emotional health first. That's what this is all about. So, I'll leave you with this question to reflect on. Thinking about your own life, your own relationships. What is one small, firm boundary that you can set starting today to better protect your own peace of mind?